Well, if your grievance is determined to be untimely and it's a termination, you could very well lose your job over it.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the member's best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I have Greg Kerwood out of Local 25 in Boston and Norm, business agent out of Local 623 in Philadelphia. And we're going to be talking about grievances in general. You know, what are the things that can go wrong if you do not file a grievance correctly? And what are the proper ways to file a grievance? So, but before we kick into it, I just want to make an announcement as far as if you're out of Atlanta, Georgia, local 728, if you're in the state of Georgia, I have a big announcement. I'm going to put it towards the end of the video. So check at this timestamp right here, or just go to the end of the video. No, actually, please watch the entire video, but stick around. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, let's get into it. All right. So Norm, let's just say, for instance, that I file a grievance and I put the wrong date on there. Let's say it's a supervisor working 9-5 8-hour request, whatever, right? And I hand it to the steward and the steward hands it to you. Where does it go from there?
We start with this. When we have the hearing, when management reads their information into the record, we read the grievance into the record. Management will ask us if we have any issues with, say, the discipline letter or whatever information they're reading in, and we'll do vice versa. We'll ask them if they have any issues with the grievance when it's read in the record. So if you have a 9-5 grievance and it has the wrong dates on it, it can totally invalidate your grievance. And that's going to be end of your case right there on something as simple as not having the correct date. So what I want to stress to everybody is note taking is of the utmost importance. You should have your personal notes. You should check your grievance, double check your grievance, have your steward check your grievance, and afterwards, you know, if you need to, you can contact your BA to check your grievance, because the date, something as simple as that, can cost you, what is it, quadruple time for supervisor workings and double time for 9-5 or time and a half. It can really cost you some dollars. So you want to make sure that everything's correct.
And another thing I want to add to this is I've seen a couple cases, unfortunately, out of my own local where we had a case in my building where one of my buddies didn't put the correct date on his intent to term. And when they filed it, the company invalidated the grievance, which ended up costing his job. Luckily, we got his job back because the members banded together. And let's just say we put some pressure on the company, right? But the thing is that it sucks when someone gets themselves in that sort of jam. And of course, there's a lot of people to blame on something like that. You know, unfortunately, the member this happened to, he gave the grievance to a part-time steward. The part-time steward doesn't deal with a lot of grievances like that, so he didn't Z-scan it to see if there was any issues or problems with it. But it's just, there's a level of importance where the member really needs to check his work. And of course, as a steward, it's good for us to check the work too, but the problem is it's hard to keep track of everything, especially if you're getting loaded down with grievances constantly. So with something as important as an intent to term or any sort of termination, it's just be very, very careful. Be sure you check, you know, cross your T's, dot your I's, everything, you know, to make sure that it's filled out correctly. But let's throw into this, Greg. Now, let's say I do get an intent to term, but I do not file my grievance on time. What happens in that case?
Well, if your grievance is determined to be untimely, you know, and it's a termination, you could very well lose your job over it. It's, as you said, it's not something to be taken lightly. If you are disciplined in a suspension or termination level, you need to get that grievance in a timely fashion. Otherwise, you're accepting the company's position. And so you have no choice but to get that grievance in and get it in accurately It doesn't have to be a Russian novel, especially with something as simple as a termination. You could simply have the date and that you were terminated without just cause, and leave it at that, and let your agent make the argument. But you need to have it in. You need to have it in on time.
And so you just mentioned, when you fill out the grievance, it doesn't need to be a Russian novel, but this goes into the contents of the grievance. Now, Norm, how important is the contents of the grievance?
The contents are important. I'm going to give you a couple examples. Okay, one, if you have a 9-5 grievance or a suit working grievance, of course, you want to put down as many details as possible. You want to have the day, the date, the time, as close as possible, and the amount of time that the supervisor worked, or 9-5, and how many hours you went over 9-5. Now, when it comes to a discipline, a suspension, or something the company violated, or even a discharge, you never want to give your case in the grievance. I understand your emotions are raw. The company, you feel as though the company has done you wrong. 9 times out of 10, they most likely have. But you don't want to put your entire case in the grievance, because that just gives the company information that they don't have, so they know how to counter everything you say. So any information that they don't have, you're giving them time to fabricate it, because they're going to prolong the grievance process. So you want to keep it short. Okay, the day and the date that the violation happened, the day and the date that it was submitted, your signature, your steward's signature if necessary, and the articles that are violated, and you submit it. And here at Philly, almost all of our grievances, the remedy that we seek to encompass everything is, we say, to be made whole in every way, including wages, benefits, and seniority. And we feel as though that encompasses everything. Your pension payments, the pay that you've missed, any seniority violations, it encompasses everything. So you just have to know the difference. Supervisor working, 9-5, yes, detail. Contract violations, discipline, you keep it as bare bones as possible, so that you have a better fighting chance when you go to that hearing.
Great advice. And I advise anybody, if you ever get discharged, obviously reach out to your business agent, help get advice, how to fill these out and everything else. What is the correct way of filing a grievance? Greg, can you help us out on that?
Yeah, as Norm just said, you want to keep it to the facts. You want to make sure that your date, your time, all of those things are correct. There are key phrases that you want to use when you're citing articles that your grievance is going to reference. You want to make sure you put in all others that apply. That covers you in case you have the wrong article or you forgot an article. If you don't know the exact time and date, now obviously with a termination or a supervisor working, you better have the right date. But if it's some sort of other harassment issue or something like that, you can always put on or about such and such date, just in case you're off or you've made a mistake. And then another key point is you want to put the facts and little else in the description of the grievance. The company violated the article, who, what, where, when. The other stuff, if it's some kind of harassment or you've got a story to tell, you want to save that for a witness statement. You want to have that with you in a hearing level. You don't, as Norm said, want to give it to the company ahead of time. And then the last piece I would say is you want to make sure that whatever you're seeking, you put it in the remedy. If it isn't in there, you're not going to get it. So if you ask for double time and the supervisor working should be quadruple time, they're not going to turn around and say, oh, you messed that up, we're going to give you quadruple time instead. So you want to make sure that anything you're looking for, like Norm said, made whole is another one of those phrases, made whole in every way, that anything, terminations, financial things, you want to make sure you put made whole in every way on there. But anything that's open to interpretation, or if there's something you're looking for specifically as a remedy, you want to make sure you put it on there, because if it isn't on there, you're not going to get it.
All right. So if you have not done so already, be sure to check out 623 Lives Matter, Facebook, Instagram, all social medias. And Greg, we're supposed to have the bucket where we put it. Listen, I couldn't afford that. So we now have the Roswell Hub drink. And this, when I drink this, it's going to tell me what shout out we should give to you. Hold on a second. This tastes like the 401k page. If you have not done so already, the 401k UPS page on Facebook. So that's all I got. If you're out of Atlanta, stay tuned towards the end. I'm going to throw another bit of information your way, but love you guys, and I'll see you next time. All right, Local 728, Atlanta, Georgia. What's the big announcement, you may be wondering? Well, we are trying to bring steward elections into our bylaws. In our current bylaws right now, we do not have steward elections in there. With these changes we're trying to make, steward elections will now be there. So here, I'll pull it up real quick. So you can look it over. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty on it right now. But any questions you can ask at the general membership meeting. We need as many people to be there as possible. It's happening March 9th down at the Union Hall. And at 9 o'clock, they have the UPS craft meeting. And at 10 o'clock, they have the general membership meeting where this will be presented. And we need as many people to vote this through. So talk to your friends, everything else. I have flyers. If you want some flyers, I'll send them to you. Email me, roswellhub@yahoo.com. And I also have an image that you can share around too. So if you're going to be promoting this anyways, just email me, roswellhub@yahoo.com. I'll send it your way. So why do I think this is so important? Well, this creates a roadmap for anybody who's looking to become a steward, or maybe have issues with your current steward. Well, now you have a roadmap on how to get a new steward in place. And so you may be wondering, does the local support this? Yes, they do. I support it. The local supports it. Are there some people that may not support it? Yes, there are. So once again, we're trying to get as many people out there as possible. So I encourage everybody to come out, grab a donut, be there at 9 o'clock for the UPS craft meeting, but stick around to 10 o'clock so you can help us vote this in. Love you guys. Email me, roswellhub@yahoo.com. That's all I got. Love you. See you next time.